Previously on another gaming channel.
I am Luchan, this is Jojo, and this is the World Gamer Show. And today we're going to dive deep into the feline world of Monster Hunter Diaries for the PSP. Feline world.
Gentlemen, we face a feline gap. Hello my friends, and welcome back to the Review Den. Sorry for the wait, I've been working on a few reviews, including my very first collaboration, which will be out just in time for Halloween, which is super cool. But for now, let's get chonky. I have a bit of a weakness for cats. Fox and I have 3 rescues in the family, and anytime a cat-themed game goes live, it usually goes in the wish list. Oh, please go on sale, please go on sale. Most of the time, these turn out just great. Even the budget titles are fun. But Chubby Cat, sorry, it just sounds funny saying the name, has a bit of an issue. Okay, kind of a big issue that fellow feline aficionados need to be wary about. Full disclosure, this game runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, but since touch controls are pretty much mandatory, I'm using the Switch's internal capture, which is 30 frames per second. So, what is Chubby Cat, you ask? Well, it's the world's most obvious cut the rope clone. Easy! This is a physics-based puzzle game where you try to guide a piece of food to the titular Chubby Cat. The food is tethered to anchors throughout the screen, and you must cut the rope, or yarn I guess in this case, or wool, so that it flies correctly from anchor to anchor, avoids any spikes or obstacles, and eventually reaches our rotund friend. As you progress through the game, new modifiers are added to the puzzles, such as bouncy pads, gravity beams, or even teleporters. Gosh, what is that, a mechanical chicken? So you'll have your hands full as you interact with on-screen mechanics while dashing back to cut the necessary tethers at the precise moment. There are 50 levels to complete, and each level has 3 jewels, or cat collars, to collect for replayability and the obligatory 3-star ratings. Everything is presented in a simple but cute pixel art style, and the music is equally relaxing and inoffensive. On paper, everything looks like simple fun, but don't let that fool you. Where Cut the Rope offered more forgiving gameplay with plenty of opportunities to hold the candy and plan your moves, Chubby Cat doesn't give you any such leeway. Once the food is in motion, you'll have to make multiple cuts with pinpoint timing and accuracy. If the food loses momentum, just like that, that means it can't get to where it needs to go. If you make the first few cuts correctly but miss the last one, too bad. It has all the usual puzzle gimmicks, but layers a pretty difficult physics challenge on top of everything. But none of that is actually bad. There's nothing wrong with a tough physics-based game. No, the problem is with the controls. If Chubby Cat had been a mouse and Windows game, none of this would have been an issue. In fact, there is a similar game on Steam, and it works great. But here on Switch, you're pretty much limited to the touchscreen. You can use the thumbsticks and A button, if you like sick jokes, but realistically you'll be swiping across the Switch screen with your fingers. This would be fine for a more laid-back title like Cut the Rope, but with such a precision-oriented game, it falls short. Yeah, it's doable for easy levels, but when you pass the halfway point, it gets to be unmanageable. Part of the problem is that the human finger is relatively wide, so it's hard to tell where underneath you the screen is actually reading the contact. But it's also a visibility issue. As the fish swings around an anchor, you need to cut it free at the exact moment for it to fly in the correct direction, and you can't see where it is in its swing if you have your finger hovering over it. Again, it works for forgiving puzzles, but not here. A mouse cursor is really what's needed. Instead, much of the game has you fighting the controls, hoping the screen reads your inputs correctly, rather than playing the game. So I bought a Stylus. Seriously, what other game review channel goes this in-depth for these kind of games? Yes, I imported an official Nintendo Switch Stylus from Japan because I couldn't stand pixelated cats in a $1.99 game going hungry. Now, as a little background, there are 2 main types of touchscreen technologies. Resistive screens actually use the pressure of an object like your finger or plastic stylus to determine the contact point. You see this in older tech like the 3DS and DS. Resistive screens can read anything with enough pressure, but the screens themselves are actually somewhat dull since they need a few extra contact sheets over the LCD to work. Conductive screens actually use the electrical conductivity of your skin to read inputs. This is what phones and modern tech like the Switch use. Conductive screens are much clearer, but they need a conductive material to read. If it doesn't connect that tiny electrical charge in your skin to the glass, no input. So modern conductive styluses tend to be more specialized or avoided altogether. In Nintendo's case, they offered them in Japan and I think the UK, and until now the only game I really heard of that makes good use of it is Super Mario Maker 2. But I guess now we can add another game to the list. This is HAC 041. It has the usual metallic body and a clever soft wire mesh tip, presumably so you don't gouge scratches into your Switch. It's a nice quality stylus, and the gameplay results are mixed. Don't get me wrong, this is worlds better and more precise than before. I was absolutely able to finish the game now, and I'm just working to 3-star everything. When it reads, it's great. But it honestly seems like the stylus reads 8 out of 10 times. On most levels, it's no biggie. If you lose because it misses a swipe, okay, try again. But on the hardest levels, it's still frustrating. There's just no margin for error, and losing because it misreads an input, that's not fun. I'm not sure if my skin was too dry or too sweaty, but I remember how the DS always read the stylus no problem, and here it seems just a bit hit or miss. Maybe the OLED models are more responsive, but my original Switch is pretty mint. I just think the game needs a mouse. If you have a stylus and like cat-styled physics games, then this is an option. But it's not the best one. And there we go. Thank you all so much for watching. Normally I like to go a little more into a game's background, but honestly I couldn't find anything. All they list is Game Nacional, a Brazilian publisher. I don't know if they actually developed the game, but whoever you are out in Brazil, thank you. There's some great fun to be had here, it just needs Windows and a mouse. That's the only real issue. Until next time, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll be back soon with another review, and no matter what, be sure to keep going, because you are worth it.